Hi, everybody. I know it's been a while. First of all, let me sit there and turn the camera around so you can say hi to Sophia. Say hi, Sophia. I know she looks so excited. Now we will spin back around and just put everybody back down. Okay, so as we're gathering in today's scene, we're going to pay tribute to the National Epilepsy Awareness Month and discuss the different forms of epilepsy. I'm also going to read to you something that my daughter, Cassie, hi Cassie, wrote on her Facebook post that honestly, it brought me to tears this morning. But it really was touching. And Cassie and my other daughter, Bridget, have gone through so much growing up, having to deal with a mom who's epileptic and what that means. I can't even explain to you guys what that means from the other side, never knowing when it's going to happen, the surprising, the things that they couldn't necessarily do. Always having to be aware of what mom's seizures, and if mom does have a seizure, helping mom to bed, going and getting mom juice, those different things and what it means. Most people hear the word seizures and they get afraid. They freak out. And honestly, they have no idea what it really means. Up until that point, you don't know that that the person next to you might be an epileptic. I remember what that was like as a teenager. And I would have people ask me, what does it mean to have seizures? And I wanted to put those people at ease and honestly make them laugh a little bit, because you don't want them to be afraid. So I would, smile, laugh, and I would say, well, picture a fish out of water on a dock, flopping around. And also picture the movie Poltergeist and that little girl, staring. And also the movie Exorcist and the girl floating above the bed or puking whatever at the priests. Now combine all three of them together and voila, you have what it feels like to be an epileptic. Sound a little strange? Sound a little odd? Maybe a little out there? Yeah, but it's not that far off. It really isn't. Now, if we're going to get to the actual description of epilepsy, WebMD tells us it's the occurrence of sporadic electrical storms in the brain, commonly known as seizures. These storms cause behavioral manifestations such as staring or petit mal seizures and involuntary movements, the flopping around like a fish, such as grand mal seizures. There are multiple types of seizures that are being diagnosed today. Now, we have to make a note that they don't know all the different types of seizures out there. There are still constant discoveries and research being done into what is causing seizures, what is causing epilepsy. Is it are there different forms of genetic epilepsy? Is there different forms of juvenile onset epilepsy? Is it PTSD? Is it psychosomatic? Is it myoclonic? Is it absence? Staring spells? Not everybody works with medication. I am one of those people who, believe it or not, medications do not work for. They have tried all of them. They have tried Keppra. They have tried Lamictal. They have tried Depakote, Depakane, Dilantin, Neurontin. A lot of you know it as other forms. I have been on Tegretol, Topamax. If it's out there, I've been on it. There is generalized tonic-clonic, otherwise known as Gramol. We've talked about all the different types. We've talked about medications. But one of the things to keep a lookout for is symptoms of what's bringing on a seizure. Because how can you help an epileptic? Well, with me, it's hiccups. At least that's what I call them, because it sounds kind of like a gasping of breath. Another form is headaches. If you know the person you work with, or you live with, or you happen to see at Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts, or even in a grocery store, or you just happen to be associated with them, and they're feeling weak or maybe even stuttering, perhaps they're clutching their head, it's usually a good sign that they are not actually in a good place at that moment. Ask them if there's anything you can do for them, but don't touch them. That is really, really important. Get them a drink of water. Some juice is a really good thing for an epileptic because they feel really weak. They might not want to drink the juice at that moment. The juice is going to be better for them after they come out of the seizure because they will have used so much energy during their seizure. It's like they have run a 5K marathon within 30 seconds to 5 minutes. Clear away anything that may be harmful to that person. If they do go into a seizure, I cannot stress this enough. Do not interfere with that person. Let the seizure ride out and call 911. The age-old myth of an epileptic swallowing their tongue is just that. It's a myth, not true. Your tongue cannot be swallowed. It's attached. It's a muscle and it's attached in your mouth. Unless somebody goes in there, cuts it out, you're not going to swallow your tongue. What is more likely to be true is the epileptic will hurt the person attempting to touch them while they are seizing. You have no idea the amount of strength an epileptic has while they're seizing. They have no idea the amount of strength they have while they're seizing. The best bet you can do, as I said, move anything out of their way and just step back until they are done. Again, after the seizure, they're going to be very weak, and that juice is going to help them a lot. The EMTs will check over their vitals, but truthfully, unless we're actually hurt, if you happen to know their emergency contact number, call it. Call their emergency contact, or if you know of a way to get them back home, do so, because they're going to want to sleep. And that is the best thing for an epileptic, is sleep. The only reason to take them to the hospital is if they have actually hurt themselves. The EMTs will do their job and check them over. They will look at their vitals. They will make sure that they have not hurt themselves. but there is no reason to take an epileptic to the hospital unless they have physically damaged themselves in some way. Now, we're going to end this on the most positive note that I can think of. I would like to read to you what my daughter, Cassie, wrote, as I feel this will give a true feeling from the outside of what it is like to live with an epileptic. Cassie wrote, "It's Epilepsy Awareness Month. I have seen firsthand the difficulties epilepsy can cause a person, as I have watched my mother struggle to gain control over this disease every day of her life. I've seen her seizures and the injuries they cause, different medications she's been put on to attempt to manage them, surgeries she's undergone, and watched as this disease claims some of her independence. I have seen in the hospital hooked up to various machines. I have seen and intervened each time she received improper medical care and first aid, some of which almost took her from me a few times. Each event has taken its toll on her, but she never gives up. She is so strong and always fighting through this disease. I have seen her look up to the sky and ask, 'Is this all you've got?' and then continue on to make so many accomplishments. I have seen many people make assumptions and judgments about her after finding out about her diagnosis, and then seen her happily prove them wrong. She refuses to be labeled as having a disability, instead choosing to be noticed for her abilities. There is not yet one definite cure for epilepsy, but often it can be managed and controlled. Do yourself and others a favor and educate yourself on this disease. Educate yourself on the proper first aid, treatment, and care necessary. You never know when it will save someone's life." Cassie Cox, 2016. I hope this will bring a bit more understanding of those who suffer from this condition to the world around us. Remember, you never know when the person next to you is going through and what their story is unless you actually ask them. Support National Epilepsy Awareness Month and ask someone their story. Thank you.